Hi everybody, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. Now, you can probably notice something here. I'm wearing my gaming headset. My cat headphones are out of battery. It is 1 a.m., so I've got to speak quite softly. But honestly, it does make for a nice video if you want to fall asleep to my voice. I don't mind. But anyways, my guest today is a voice actor. Sorry, Arthur. You may know him as the voice of Zartan and Werewolf in the 1980s G.I. Joe cartoon. He's also been in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He played a director. He's also been in Moop and Dreadly in The Treasure of Bing Bong Island. We played additional voices. And his other credits include Highway to Heaven, Homeland, The Fugitive, and more. He has written a poetry book called Late Model, and he has also performed in a one-man show called Tuxedo Man. My guest is the lovely Zack Hoffman. Welcome. Hi, Zack.
Hi, Amber. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Honestly, it's nice. It's nighttime for me, but honestly, it's personally my favorite sort of hours. I'm a big night owl, so to record in the night is just it feels great. Yeah. How has your day been so far?
My day it's wonderful. It's sunny in
Is it?
Seattle. It's sunny in
Wow.
Seattle, so can't
Awesome.
can't beat it.
Awesome. Wow. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. It's been quite sunny here today as well. I mean, it's been quite hot. It was quite hot this afternoon, and then sort of the temperature dropped sort of when we were going towards the evening, sort of. But yeah, first of all, thank you so much for coming on to my show. We
My
had a bit of
pleasure.
a thing trying to work it out, but we got there in the end, of course. And that's all that matters. I want to start off by asking you now, you have mainly a predominant role that you're known for, which is Zartan in G.I. Joe. So I want to know all about it. How did you sort of become a voice actor? How did you sort of enter this career?
So,
Did you always want to
and
do
I did
this?
fall
Or...
into it, but I'm the guy in high school that did the impressions.
Mhm.
And I do impressions for you, but you wouldn't know who they were because like all the guys that I do, are gone now. But I did impressions.
Yeah.
And I started off doing impressions of Frank Gorshin doing impressions, and then you just work and you go, and then finally, you do one that nobody else is doing. And for me, that was Bullwinkle J. Moose. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! And I went, oh, I can do that voice, right? And so, you can just do more and more and more. And so I got into improvisational theater. And I was inspired by the guys in the committee. And we would, and I would go and see these guys, and they were at the Tiffany Theater, and they were phenomenal, and they would do improv, and they would people that could, like they'd yell out stuff, and that people could do the impressions, would do the impressions. And then I started hanging out with improvisational actors, and it was all the guys that did improv, and all the guys that did impressions.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, so, so I was an actor, and I traveled for a while, but when I turned 25, I got serious about being an actor.
Mhm.
And and when people get serious about being an actor, they start working as a waiter so they can audition. And I was working as a singing waiter at a place called Michelli's in Universal City, right there in North
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And um, one day I was I was at the bar next door, with my friends,
Mhm.
and my buddy Michael Santiago goes, "Man, we're looking for somebody who does ADR, Spanish into English." And I went, "Well, I can do that." And I didn't even know what he was talking about, but it was loop dubbing. ADR was loop dubbing. And so I started doing that, and I started doing characters. And one thing led to another. So I was working constantly. I was in front of a microphone constantly. And I was just going all the time. And I was doing improv with a group called the LA Connection, which was in the Studio City on Ventura Boulevard. And they had their own theater, and we do other places. We actually did Friday nights at the Laugh Factory on Sunset Boulevard. And we were having a good old time. And Kent Scove, who was the director, decided to do this thing called improvision, where they put a movie on, and then they just cut the sound, and they had a piano player or an organ player, and then the actors did the soundtrack to the movie. And we were doing bad Ed Wood movies and Spanish horror films, um, and I knew Wally Burr for a number of years, and I uh, yeah, and Wally Burr said he was looking for a voice, and I told him that I was doing Sean Connery for an Ed Woods movie. And I was playing Bond, James Bond, and and then he'd say, "Can you make a voice up?" And I've had so much experience, being trained as an actor and being trained to be in front of a microphone to create a character. And so I went home and created a character, and it wound up being Zartan, and they seemed to like it. And it was a great show. And that's sort of how I got into it.
Awesome. Well,
It's a long answer.
oh yeah, yeah. But honestly, long is good in my yeah. Now I'm gonna stop you there, right?
Okay,
Because I did not expect you to come out before with Bullwinkle Moose. Because believe it or not, I am a huge Rockin' Bullwinkle fan.
me too.
Um, I actually own a Bullwinkle cell.
Sorry, what?
I own a Bullwinkle cell.
Oh, wow.
So uh it's quite an interesting story about how I got this. Back in 2020, I started producing a documentary on Bill Scott, the voice of Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And I interviewed a lot of people for it, a lot of people in the industry who worked with him, and like Frank Welker and Corey Burton and everyone like that. Um, I released it in March. I met Bill's son in LA, and he said this was hung on my dad's wall in his office for many years. I want you to have it.
Fabulous.
And I have a Bullwinkle plush toy down there that is hang on, I'm gonna have to get it just real quickly. Hang on, wait. So weird. I've got to, oh right, because I got headphones in. Hang on one second, I gotta take these out real quick. Over here. It is just I have to keep it at the bottom of my bed because it molts so much. Honestly, it's ridiculous. It's like I don't know how many years old it is, but it is very old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he also was Bill's. So yeah, I keep these in my room. And I need to put the Bullwinkle one on my wall. I also own a Quisp, the Quisp Quake commercials they used to do. I own a cell of that as well. This was from Bill's goddaughter.
Oh my.
So yeah, that's two animation cells. I actually also own a GI Joe animation cell, but it's of Scarlett, BJ Ward, a voice actress, which is
I
actually,
BJ.
I know, yeah, I need to get her on a show. Well, coincidence
You
um,
know, she's a fabulous opera singer.
is she?
She's just a fabulous singer, period. And
Wow,
she used to do wonderful cabaret shows, and she can sing. She can
wow.
hit some notes. She's quite a performer.
I never knew that. Well,
Much love and respect for her.
I was gonna interview her. It's a bit of a funny story actually, because on the Friday I was in Burbank. I was gonna interview her, but I actually ended up running late over at the Warner Brothers studio tour because I was there with fellow voice actress Noelle North. Not sure if you know her, but she's only really I don't think you've worked on anything together, but she did Gem and the Holograms and different things like and GoBots and stuff. But yeah, we ended up running late. I I let BJ down quite a lot because I didn't know that I was going to be that long. So we called it off. Later that evening, I went to a comic book store in Burbank and I found a Scarlet cell from GI Joe. So I'm gonna surprise her with that when I do a virtual interview with her because I think it could be easier from the comfort of my own home.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's
Very
my
nice.
that's my Bill Scott story. Even though never met the guy, it feels like I've known him for years.
Yeah, and did you ever watch Fractured Flickers?
I have the box set of every episode, so yeah, I've
Of,
nearly watched them.
of course you do.
I have series one and two of Rocky and Bullwinkle box sets like somewhere in my room. So yeah, I have them. And yeah, so I own these and just I was just gifted a lot of things when I came back from LA. I had to buy an extra suitcase to bring them all home. It was madness, really. Now, Zach, I want to ask you. I've heard different answers depending on who I ask. What was it like
Okay.
working with Wally Burr because of his known sort of long recording sessions and stuff like that?
I I don't know. I loved it. I first of all, I loved Wally.
Mm-hmm.
He's was a great guy, and he knew what he wanted. And I think as an actor, you have to like when a director knows what he wants and asks for it, and you can give it to him.
Yeah.
Uh, my favorite part of so we would come in and it would be like a radio show. And there would be uh, there would be the pictures of what was happening, of action. And so we would go through that and who would be speaking when, and there would be like six mics. And so six people would come in at a time and then go out. The bad guys would be the six bad guys, and then the good guys would come. And it was court, it was great. And we knew what was going on, and they do an episode like a radio show
Mm-hmm.
because it was uh, it was a unique uh, television show in the sense that the animation was made to our voices
Yeah.
versus versus dubbing something that's already been made. So they created the voice the voice uh, show, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and
Yeah.
then it was animated from our voices, which was quite unique and quite wonderful. And yeah, and then he would do uh, he would be the fight director at the end. Okay, take a punch to the stomach. Ooh, and now one to the head. And then okay, hit him with a hard. And so like and all these guys, and then everybody, yo Joe, and then like 10 people would be in there, yo Joe, and then Cobra, and it was great. It was just it was fun. It was camaraderie. It was really great.
Wow, that honestly sounds like a lot of fun. What was it like? Oh, sorry.
What was
What was it like working with the other villains? Because you had Arthur Burkhart as Destro, Baroness, Morgan Lofting, Dr.
I
Mindbender,
I
Brian Cummings, and of course
Right.
Chris
They were
Latta,
all
Cobra
wonder,
Commander.
like I should I if I have a picture of Brian and Morgan and I were in Illinois and it's I'll send it to you. It's the three villains and we had a great time.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
Morgan's been a friend of mine for a long, long time and her and I are both big fans of documentaries. So it's nice that you mentioned that you're into documentaries because
Well,
we love it. I just watched We We Feed People.
mhm,
Wonderful.
I think I've heard
It's
that.
Jose, and I can't think of his name, but it's about the World Central Kitchen and how they move through disasters to feed people. Wonderful documentary by
Wow.
Ron Howard, directed it. Really great.
Awesome.
Um, See, I'm going off on a tangent, but yes,
That's what I
and
love hearing.
Arthur's a friend. Um, um, Chris Latta, who was one of the Dreadnoks and also Cobra Commander, was a friend, and really, I truly say this is that if I get to, go to a Comic-Con or, a toy festival or to sign autographs, it certainly is for me because Chris Collins, was the Cobra Commander, because he was so terrific at it, and it made GI, GI Joe was fun. I mean, GI Joe was fun, and that's probably the most unique character. Although Destro's great and the Baroness is great, Zartan is wonderful, and but Chris doing the Cobra Commander, that was the glue that held that show together without question.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially he would melt down every show. So that would be great. That would be great entertainment for us watching him do that.
Oh, bless them. Yeah, he would have really, I think everyone would have loved to have seen him at a Comic Con or like be doing interviews, it'd be really cool. Makes you think, doesn't it? Um, Actually, that was one thing I was going to ask you. What did you sort of do after G.I. Joe? Did you sort of audition for any other cartoons? I know you said obviously that's sort of your
I
main role, but did you audition for any other
I
cartoons?
I after G.I. Joe, I went on the road with a sword and sorcery show for kids called He-Man, She-Ra, and the Masters of the Universe. And I
Wow.
played Man at Arms live in this 50-pound neoprene suit, with the red helmet and the mustache. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And we were on the road for about a year. That jewel in the crown is that we played Radio City Music Hall for
Wow.
like a month, and we were pretty much sold out for all the performances. Um, we had, and then I came back and rode the wave of acting and improv and groups um, trying to write and all the things that you do. And then I made the decision to leave Los Angeles. I was not happy there, and uh, decided to come to Seattle. And I was sure that I would be selling shoes somewhere. Um, but that's not what that's not what was in store for me. And I came to Seattle and continued to work more commercial, voices, but I got to do voice work and but the cartoons and the films and all that, it was more commercials. I was the voice of the University of Washington for a while. I did Mariner commercials and Seahawk commercials, and so I just threw my hands up and went, okay, and uh, and so interesting, the audition process for me. I mean, if I look back on my life, and I used to drive to my agent's office, and so that I could do a audition on a tape deck, on a little cassette deck,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Live, right, right.
Yeah.
And then, and then the digital, and then the computer, and then there's a studio inside my computer, and it's all electronic now, and people have home
I know,
studios.
yeah.
And I've gotten to watch the technology and it's
Yeah.
been it's been really interesting.
It is honestly very interesting. Is there a specific memory that sticks out from your time working on G.I. Joe, whether it's been a recording session or with another cast member or anything like that?
Well, I'm a singer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a singer. I sing. A bass baritone. That's my
Uh-huh.
that's my calling, right?
Okay.
And of course, all the good rock songs are sung by tenors. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a big resentment, but I have some resentment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing the episode of Cold Slither, and they're so they're gonna, they go, well, we're gonna do Cold Slither, and they go, yeah, well, we've got the song, and I go, oh, that's great, and we're gonna have somebody else record it, and I went, I'm a singer, I can sing the song. I mean, why don't we sing the song? And it was me and Michael Bell and Chris and um, Ross,
Neil.
uh, Neil Ross.
Yeah.
So it was the four of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, we're going to go into the studio. There'll be a band. I'll be able to say, I sing in the key of G. No, the song was already recorded and it was a little bit out of my range. So I'm sort of screaming Cold Slither, sort of Zartan-y,
Mm-hmm.
with the three of them backing it up. And, I'm like, uh, I don't know if like you don't know, right? You
Mm-hmm.
think I may have screwed this whole thing up. Oh my God. I'm not endearing myself to the producers, but it turned out, and it was years later, I watched the episode and I went, oh, it's bad and it's good, and it's bad in a good way.
Yeah.
I went, yes. So we nailed it. We did nail it. But it's that anxiety of like, did I get it? Uh-oh. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out that episode now.
Okay.
Seriously, you've intrigued me. Now, Zach, my final question for you for part one, of course, because we're gonna split this interview, if that's okay with you, into two parts. So part one will be then now, and then part two will be just whenever
Later.
later. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because yeah, I'm probably gonna head to bed in about a few minutes, so I'd rather sort of do this in two parts. We can get everything in sort of in like one chunk, if that makes sense to you. Okay,
Okay.
okay. I want to ask you what from the Comic Cons that you've done so far. if you have done any. Is there a memory that also sticks out for you there? Or what's it been? I'm not sure how long you've been doing Comic Cons for.
I do them rarely. I
Oh,
have had
okay.
some wonderful moments.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to Burbank on the 9th of June, and then
Hmm.
I'm going to New Jersey. I think it's the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th
Uh-huh.
of June. And I haven't been on the East Coast probably in years, a lot of years. I mean, since I was doing, I think the last time I was in New Jersey was when I was doing He-Man, She-Ra, and the Masters of the Universe. Um, I've had a lot of wonderful experiences with the fans, and I was in Toronto, and they were, because I hadn't done one in forever, so that everybody was excited to see me, and I was thrilled by it. But I had a moment with I was leaving. My cousin came to pick me up in Troy because I have family in Canada, and
Yeah.
my cousin came to pick me up. And as I'm waiting for her, a father and a son were came out, and he was like, we were talking, and he said, "Thank you so much." For all the fun that you gave us, and I said, "Wow!" And your son, he says, "Yeah, we watch them together. We see he loves them, and I think they still hold up for kids, And so that was wonderful. And then I said, you know, I don't get it. I said, "You guys are making a big fuss about me, and you know, I don't get it." And he says, "Yeah, you don't, because we when we played with the toy, we used your voice." Wow.
Entirely different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the feels for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's proper warmed my heart. That like, when I sort of have action figures and stuff like that, I usually pretend it's such and such's voice coming out of that toy and stuff like that. So yeah, that does
I,
sort of hit home for
I
me.
get it. I can't read an Alex Cross book without Morgan Freeman's voice. Stop
No.
that.
um Zach, is there anything you would like to promote? Have you got any upcoming projects that you're working on? Where can we find you on the net?
You can find me on the net at zackhoffman.com. If I'd love you to have my book of poetry, which is called Late Model,
Hmm.
and I'm making the ebook available for the entire month of June for 99 cents.
Wow.
So put it on your phone. And I know that you won't love all the poems, but you will love one of them. I guarantee that.
Ooh, you're tempting me now. You're tempting me.
That's the challenge.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, everybody at home, thank you so much for watching part one of In Conversation with ATF, Zack Hoffman.
Wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. To you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to stay tuned for part two. And also don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye. And cut.